Hi, my name is Meibo. I'm a sourcing agent from Guangzhou, China. As you all know, I help business to source products from China. And a lot of you who are watching this video right now might be Amazon seller. In the last few weeks, I have done a few interview videos with a successful Amazon seller, Dano. And if you haven't watched those videos, you can go to my channel and find those videos. It's very useful for you and teach you how to become successful in Amazon. And subscribe to my channel. And today we have Dano again, and we're going to talk about how to sell your Amazon business. Let's welcome Dano.
Hello, Meibo. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you too.
How are you today? All good?
Yeah, so I'm excited for the topic today because in the last few weeks, you have talked about how to grow your Amazon business, and this time you are talking about how to sell your Amazon business.
Yeah. We created a series which has a bit of a progression. So we started with ranking strategies and ranking system and press releases, and today we will talk about how to best sell your business and all the moving parts in the process.
That's good. I'm sure a lot of people are interested in this topic.
Yeah, I think if they're not, they should, because if you are selling on Amazon, I think selling your business is definitely something you should consider and think about, and and even when you create a new business, I think it's a good goal to have in mind to create a business, with the end goal to simply sell it. So I will do my best to provide, all the information necessary to do this as clever as possible.
Okay, I'm excited. Let's start.
Good. Yeah, so let's, I'm actually talking from experience here because I sold my business last year. My name is Dano Edward Falk, founder of Diversify, and I'm an Amazon seller consultant and digital marketer from Germany who made Malaysia his second home. I started doing online work in 1996 and have built multiple online businesses and agencies in the past 20 over years. Between 2014 and 2019, I created, grew, and sold my Amazon private label business. And since then, I'm helping Amazon sellers and other businesses with what I've learned and keep on learning. So this is a fun part of what happens if you tell your friends you sold your business. I was really surprised to find like two very typical reactions. The one would be, why would you do that? What happened? Like kind of, oh my God, like kind of compassionate, scared kind of response. And the other one was, congratulations, well done. And I found out that entrepreneurs would tend to give me the second response, like, hey, congrats, like high five kind of thing. And employees mostly think like, oh my God, you kind of fired yourself. You lost your job. Why would you do that? So what's going on? And so let's talk about what it is like and why would you sell your business. So first of all, you get 25 to 30 times your monthly profit at once, which depending on your monthly profit can be quite a lot of money. So with this money, you can launch a business at a bigger scale. So even if you are in a specific niche selling on Amazon, having extra capital opens a few doors, to open even a similar business at a higher scale, or maybe selling more expensive products, having more money to launch and to rank. So you kind of get, the chance to apply what you have learned. And it's quite a bit, when you sell for 5 years on Amazon, the decisions I would make today would be very different from the decisions and how I picked my product 5 years ago. Then there's something I call the entrepreneurial full cycle badge. You simply learn a lot when you sell your business. You simply learn like what matters to buyers and how value of a business is perceived, things that you hardly think of if you simply stuck in your treadmill of daily operations. So it gives you like a bird's eye view of the entire process and how, and what to look for the next time around. And another reason could be to simply catch a break, So you get some financial freedom, depends, on your selling price. It can be like full on forever financial freedom, or at least, for a few years. So, catching a break can be another motivation.
Yeah.
So let's discuss the minimum requirements. So when could you even start to think of selling your business, and what do you have to, what are the check boxes to even start the process and talk to a broker? So first of all, a minimum of 12K in yearly profit, which is like $1,000 in profit per month. That's a bare minimum, and many brokers will only start talking to you if you have 100K plus in yearly profit. But as soon as you reach 12K, you could at least, start somewhere with a very limited selection of brokers. You should not have a loss month in the past 6 months. And the age of your business should rather be at least 1 year, ideally more towards 2 or 3 years. You should have a positive profit curve. So if your profit curve is slanting down, that's not a good time to sell. And you need like some statistics. You need your monthly profit and loss spreadsheets. So you need to have some financial reports in place to start to talk to a broker. Talking about this profit curve. So just to illustrate, what it should and what it should not look like. The first one, that's the way, a buyer wants to see your business to look like on a profits spreadsheet. So your profit should be somehow, pointing upwards. The second image shows like, let's say 3 months ago, you had a losing month and you actually lost money. That's something that's like a no-go. You should not have any losing months, at least in this last 6 months. And your business profit curve should not be pointing down, because, if I'm a buyer and I see this kind of profit curve, I'm assuming this business is going to close down anytime soon. So I would not be interested. So we have to do whatever we can to get the first type of profit curve for our business. The second most important thing a buyer will look like is the risk. So buyers want to avoid risk, obviously. And risk can be broken down into 3 aspects. One is you only sell on one channel. This happens oftentimes with Amazon sellers because it's not that easy, to have a significant amount of sales coming outside of Amazon on your e-com platform or something like that. But ideally, you should reach 30% of sales for your products outside of Amazon. You need to have multiple products. A buyer will mostly not interested to buy a business which is like a one-hit wonder. So if you have one product which makes more than 30% of the bottom line and something goes wrong with that product, the business is basically worthless. So we need a selection of products, and each of them should contribute less than 30% to the overall profit. And then you need to have,
So are you talking about a brand as well? Because like if you mentioned about if these products should be selling like 30% off Amazon, that means a product or a brand. Like for example, a glove. You're talking about like a pair of gloves should be selling 30% off Amazon as well. Just like in general.
If I was selling gloves, that would be, one pair of gloves would be one product, right? And I'm basically talking about the brand here. Yes, I'm talking about the private label business, about the brand, which has several products, and ideally it would have several sales channels. So it could be Walmart, it could be Jet, it could be your own e-commerce store, it could be whatever store where you are selling, which is like at least 30% of your sales of any products. It doesn't depend on products, but it would be good to have more than 30% selling outside of Amazon. And and if I'm only selling one glove, one pair of gloves, I should sell, at least 3 different pairs of gloves and each of them maybe contributing around 30% or less to the bottom line. So, with the glove example, we need diversification in products. So we are not relying on one, pair of gloves. And then we want to have trademarks and patents in place to protect our brand and protect our products. So not everyone could just, barge in and start selling our products and, or even worse, register a trademark on a similar product and kick us out of business. So, these are the three most important risk factors we need to look at when we are looking to, avoid risk and improve our sales price.
Yeah.
Then we have structure. So from the buyer's perspective, a buyer does not want to buy a business where the current owner is doing all the work, because the current owner will be gone, right? I mean, that's why I'm selling the business. So I will not be working in this business anymore. And if I'm doing all the work, that's going to create a big problem for the new owner. Mm-hmm. So we're looking for a team. We're looking for a business structure which is independent of the seller. And in order to do that, we need a little team. We need VAs, like virtual assistants. We need mm-hmm. SOPs, like standard procedures, how operations are run. And we need to remove ourselves from daily operations. So ideally, we would only work on the business where at the time when we sell it, and not anymore in the business. Mm-hmm. The next very important part for the overall equation is the multiple. So the multiple is a number that your broker will use to multiply your average monthly profits and to get like the initial selling price. So let's say, as an example, you made $150,000 in profit over the last year. And let's say the multiple, which is a number, is like a discretionary number of the broker. He will look at all the aspects like your profit curve, your trademark, your SOPs, at all the risk factors. And he will, out of these risk factors, he will kind of, with his own logic, which we don't have influence, we can only give him the data and, our business statistics and our data points. And then he will say, okay, this business with this kind of average profit, with this kind of like time in business, with this portfolio of products, with this amount of sales diversification, this will be a multiple of, let's say, 30. And it's always within a ballpark of 25 to 35 for FBA businesses. It can be even go down to 20, but yeah, in this area. So let's say our multiple is 30. So our selling price, our listing price, would result in 375,000. That's how the selling price is determined. So the most important factors are your profits, the average of your profits, and then it's the multiple. But the multiple is, obviously has a very huge impact, and that's why taking care of the risks and all that mentioned previously is so important. Okay, so far?
Yep.
Good. So just to give you a bit more data, I have read through this excerpt through this Empire Flippers industry report of 2020, which is a great source of information if you're looking, because Empire Flippers is one of the biggest broker platforms for FBA businesses and other businesses. And they issue this yearly report, and they will, mention a lot of stuff, what matters in selling and buying businesses. And it's a great source of information to, to get more insight. The parts for FBA businesses, which I found in this report, which seemed to be like most relevant to me, I just wanted to share with you here. So the first one is to create a strong brand. Strong brand means what makes a business valuable is to have repeat visitors and customers that participate in the brand's community. So we want to have people who come back to us. We want to have social proof. We want to build a community We want, and we have to like a list of customers, and all these things add up a lot in the value of a business. So if it's like a real brand with a following, then investors will be much more keen to acquire this business as opposed to just like a paper brand which doesn't have any following, which doesn't have like repeat customers and all that. So a strong brand is something we want to build. We want to reduce cost, obviously. Okay. So we want, to do the sourcing part as smart as possible, which is Meibo's area of expertise. So we want to buy big amount of products. We want to do sea freight instead of air freight. We want to use like fully loaded containers. We would consider to have a third-party warehouse somewhere in the US where we can store our products at a lesser price than the Amazon storage fees. We want to reduce package and product size, and obviously negotiate with the manufacturer to get a better cost per unit. And to make small improvements in all these areas can add up very quickly and can improve our profit margin, and that kind of exponentially helps us to sell the business. So all the numbers will improve from small improvements in these areas.
So you mentioned that having other warehouse area and instead of using the Amazon one.
Yes, it's recommended to have. I mean, it's a logical consequence of ordering big amounts of inventory, of using container and sea freight, which, if we ship a container into Amazon, Amazon will not be happy because they don't like to be treated as a warehouse.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
They only want to store like 30 days of product maximum. And they are constantly increasing the storage fees because they want to avoid sellers to abuse Amazon as a warehouse, because they just so they want us, and the consequence is we need like a third-party warehouse. We need a company which specializes on simply storing products, so we can ship them out in smaller portions into Amazon, which would be more or less the equivalent amount of 1 month of sale.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And the next thing is to diversify. So diversification is another big one according to this industry report. Something I mentioned earlier partially. So expand to other platforms, build your e-com store, which can be your Shopify, or your WooCommerce store, or any other platform, and build or buy an affiliate content site in your niche. This can also be very powerful if you are able to build or buy an affiliate site, which means a website which has a significant amount of organic traffic from Google, and people come to this website to look for, like, say, gloves, and then you can send them to Amazon or to your store. That can add like a lot of additional traffic to your listing, which improves ranking. And you now can also easily reach these 30% of Amazon sales, because if you send this affiliate traffic to your web store or to your e-com store, now you can generate sales out of Amazon. Now you have traffic. Otherwise, you have to pay a lot of advertising on Facebook and on Google to get these sales off of Amazon. So having an affiliate site would kind of give you this traffic secret weapon.
Yeah.
So and then also a small section about risks of building and selling an Amazon FBA business. So one of them is that if you get on Amazon's radar and they think it would be a good idea to sell your product themselves, they will. And you find yourself competing with Amazon. So this is something to keep in mind. If you really grow big, and to get on Amazon's radar means you have to sell millions with your brands per year. And if that happens, there is a chance, that they will think, hey, this brand is doing well. We might as well open another Amazon Basics store and start selling similar products. And we will, because they know who your manufacturer is, they know everything, they know how you ship, they know where your product come from. So it's a no-brainer for them to simply go and copycat your product and, you know, sell them under their own brand. It's a risk. I don't think it's an essential risk. It didn't happen to me, but yeah, it's something to be aware of. Then Amazon can take your listing down.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. So getting on the radar means you are selling outside of Amazon. Can you?
No, what I mean by getting on the radar is if you are big enough in Amazon. So, I mean, you are selling on Amazon, right? It's their platform.
Yeah.
So, and they obviously monitor what's going on. They monitor other brands selling. They monitor like growing and like shrinking businesses on Amazon. And if you kind of raise this red flag, or, you know, if you get their attention because you're doing really well, you know, that's when they could start like looking at your store and at your brand and you know, and considering to simply do this by themselves, because they can. As simple as that. I mean, Amazon wants to make money, and if they can simply copy your product and do well selling it, they will do that. And yeah, there are examples of this happening. It's not like what happens every day, you know. But it's something, you know, which can happen. But yeah, then you still have other channels.
You mean like they will copy the product?
Yes.
And sell it on Amazon, like the product with exactly the brand.
Well,
same
I mean,
product,
they
it
might
could
do
be different brand.
Yeah, they might do small modifications. They might sell the same product under a different brand. You know, they can do that. They can just go talk to your supplier, you know, to your manufacturer, and tell them, we're going to buy, like, I don't know what, 1 million units next year. So are you going to sell to us or not? Of course they will. And they will probably even get a better price than a normal Amazon seller. So they have all this money and all this stuff, you know, going, which they can use if they want to simply copy your product. As I said, I don't think that's a major risk.
Wow,
but
I'm surprised.
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah, yeah. This can happen. Yeah.
No, I didn't.
And the second one is Amazon can take your listing down and suspend your account. I mean, this actually happened to me. I mean, with listings, it happened several times. With my account, it happened one time, and it was a very dark time for me. You know, if suddenly you have violated some Amazon policies, which may or not be the case in reality, but as soon as they think you have violated their policies, they can just shut you down. And that was one of the scariest part for me during this whole Amazon journey, because you never know what's going to happen. You know, somebody, it can be a review that contains, you know, some trigger words, like claiming that your product was a copy, or claiming that your product was used, sell as new. That's what was the case with me. It's just because a part of the packaging was dirty out of the factory. Customers said, "Oh, this product is actually used. It's not new." It wasn't true. It was new, but you know, there was some dirt on some aspect of the packaging. So Amazon simply closed my account. You know, so they told me, "You know what? You're selling used products as new. We don't want that. So your account is suspended, and now show us proof that you're actually behaving." And that can be a very difficult, journey to get them to. I did get my account reinstated, but it was 1 month, which I don't recommend anyone to have this experience. So that's one definite risk. And then the migration process can be a risk, because it can. I mean, if you go the official route of actually selling your Amazon account, it can take 6 to 8 weeks, or even longer. And during that time, buyers might simply get cold feet and back out. So this is something that did not happen to me. But if you go the official way of actually selling the whole account, this can be a very time-intensive process. But there is another way. So you can simply hand your account over. So you're not selling anything. You're simply giving access to the buyer to your account. That's what I did. And I would recommend sellers to do that. So then the new owner, he will simply take over more and more permissions within your seller account. And then at some point he will be the super user, which means he can like determine other permission rights for himself, and he can also kick me out as a previous owner. And then the last step is to change the bank details. I mean, that's the tricky part, and we have to be very careful, because changing the bank details, that's definitely something that Amazon is monitoring very closely. And if you do that like one day after you took over the account, they're gonna shut down the account. But if you let some time pass, I mean, it worked well with us. So there is like this backdoor way to handing over the seller account, which I think will not result in this kind of 6 to 8 week process. But if you go the official route, it can take a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are the risks with Amazon businesses and selling them. So now I would just like to cover the process. So how this works step by step, from finding a broker to actually receiving your money. There are quite a few steps involved, and I didn't know these steps previously, so that's why I would like to share them with you. So the first one is to find a broker, and this is something. It's easy. If you Google Amazon FBA business brokers, you will find, the usual suspects. And the biggest ones are Empire Flippers, the FBA broker, FE International, and Quiet Light Brokerage. I used Quiet Light Brokerage and had a good experience with them. But this is something you should, at least be aware of early on, which are the brokers, and maybe reach out to them and talk to them at a very early stage. As soon as you have an agreement with a broker and they are willing to work with you, that's when you get listed on their marketplace. So you will have to fill in like a very extensive questionnaire. I think it took me 1 day to answer all the questions about my business, which all the things that the broker wants to know. I mean, they want to know everything.
Yeah.
And then you have to obviously submit your P&L statements. Some of them will actually go and find the numbers themselves in your Amazon account. Some of them will ask you to submit, your financial statements. And as soon as you have this deal, it's an exclusive deal. So you cannot sell your business anywhere else. You cannot sell it to a friend. Even if you find another buyer, that's it's not allowed. So you have to allow at least, I think it's like 3 months of exclusivity with this broker platform, which means you can sell your business only with them.
Oh, okay. So after 3 months, if they didn't sell it, or like you're not agreed any deals?
Yeah, I mean, if they don't manage to find a buyer within a certain amount of time, which is mostly like 3 months or so, then they will kind of release the listing on the agreement, and then you can go and you can sell it somewhere else. But for this time of the agreement, it's an exclusive deal.
Yeah.
So then the next step is there is a buyer. So someone is actually interested to buy your business. What happens then is you get on a group call. So you get on a call with the buyer or the team of buyers. Sometimes it's like a team of people, and the broker and yourself. So there will be this group call, and they will ask all kind of questions. One of the most popular one is, why are you selling? Obviously, and you better have a good answer to that.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be like a 30-minute, 60-minute phone call, which will where the potential buyer has the option to ask all kind of questions. It's an interview, and depending on how this call goes, it will result into the next step, which would be the LOI. So that's called the letter of intent. And as soon as the buyer is willing to sign this letter of intent, it's actually quite a success already, because apparently 80% of people who sign an LOA actually follow through and actually buy the business. So this letter of intent, it will include the buying price. And I made a mistake here, because I thought, well, let's just put any price which the buyer suggested, and we will negotiate later. bad idea, because that was actually binding. So before I mean, obviously the buyer will try to negotiate down the price, right? Let's say you list it for 300 and the buyer says, well, I'm going to buy it for 250. And my bad idea was to say, well, let's go with 250 and then we negotiate later. But no, you cannot negotiate later. So if you want to negotiate the price, you have to do it right away, and you have to put like your best offer. You have to put it into this LOI. Because later everybody will say like, what? I mean, you already mentioned this price and now you want more money. It doesn't work that way. So be aware that the price you put in the LOI will be your final selling price. And then what else? So now it's this buyer has kind of reserved the listing. So the listing will be still on the broker platform, but it will not be available anymore. So as long as this letter of intent is in order, it will be exclusive to this one person who wants to buy, and unless he backs out, then for that time he will continue with this guy. So as soon as the letter of intent is signed, the buyer will get access to Seller Central. And that is a bit of a scary part because, he technically hasn't bought anything. He just signed like a letter of intention, but still he gets all kind of access to my business. So now he can look around, he can check all the metrics, all the data in Amazon. Obviously, he can see all my listings, everything, my suppliers. So, he now gets to see like every detail of my business, basically. That's the time where we simply hope that this is going to go well, because technically he could just back off and say, well, I'm not interested. But it makes sense. I mean, of course, the buyer needs to verify if what you claimed about the business to be the case is actually true. And if he doesn't find any big problems, and if he wants to move on with the deal, then the next step is to negotiate the PA, which is the purchase agreement. And this one is a very long document, and it includes everything that's part of the deal, all your assets, all your supplier contacts, your email list, your trademarks, your VAs. I mean, everything that is part of the business will be included in this purchase agreement, and also all kind of terms like how long, the due diligence period, how long the buyer will get time to even do more investigation about the business before he actually releases the funds. So and if you're not familiar with lawyers' English like me, it's gonna be a tough cookie to understand all this lawyers' English within this agreement and to make sense of it, and maybe to negotiate it in your favor. The next step is, after this purchase agreement has been signed, the buyer sends the purchase price into the escrow account, which is like a third party which will hold the money for the time being. And then the business is being handed over to the buyer, and he has another period of time, this due diligence time, to check everything. And I recommend to keep this time as short as possible, because, I think I had 3 months in my PA, which later on I realized this is like not a good thing to have, like another 3 months of the buyer having, he can simply just do whatever he wants to do and hold back the payout, which I think should be closer to 4 weeks. But my buyer was very kind, and he didn't kind of, exploit this part of the PA. And the last step is, after this due diligence time, everything is fine, everything is arrived and taken over by the buyer, then the funds are released from escrow. And so everybody signs, and this escrow company will actually submit the money into your bank account. That's when the cycle is closed. Yeah, and that's it's quite a big day in an entrepreneur's life when you actually see the money arriving in your bank account.
Yeah.
As a summary, I mean, if I look back at this whole process, and if I had to give myself advice, what you should do and how to improve this whole, the sales outcome of your business, I would say create a strong brand as good as you can. Diversify channels. I mean, look at every option available in your niche for your products outside of Amazon. Diversify products. Make sure that no product has more than 30% of the profits. Reduce cost as much as possible. automate, take yourself out of daily operations, register trademarks and patents when possible. You know, I had an issue with the American trademark, which delayed the closing of the deal for like another 9 months for me, or 7 months.
Yeah.
So this is, you know, buyers can be very particular about trademarks, and if you only have like a European trademark and you don't have a American one, this could be like a big deal breaker. So make sure you have your American trademark, and choose a broker very early on. So as soon as you even consider selling a business, try to build a partnership with the broker, because they can help you a lot along the process. They can tell you exactly what are the weak points in your business, how to improve, and they can, you know, if it's interesting for them, if it's beyond a certain threshold of profit, they will actually, you know, hold your hand along the process, and they will help you to, you know, to improve your metrics until the point where they actually list the business, and, you know, they can improve your outcome quite a bit.
Oh, okay. So how long did it take you to finish the whole deal? Like by the time you get in contact with the broker?
I think it took about 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. From actually contacting the first bunch of brokers and talking to them, and then listing on the platform, and, you know, talking to, I think I talked to like at least 4 different buyers before, you know, I found one who was willing to close the deal. So this whole process was, I think, at least 6 months from talking to a broker to actually having the money in the bank.
Okay.
Yeah, so I hope this helped. Here are some resources which we can maybe put under the video, some links. So this industry report from Empire Flippers I mentioned earlier, we can put a link to that. I think it's a very useful piece of information to just have a, you know, to see all the insights that these people have collected over the years, and specifically over the last year selling businesses. There's a podcast from Empire Flippers I would highly recommend, because they discuss, you know, everything related to selling and buying businesses. And the FBA brokers, the other big broker platform, they also have this scorecard where you know, it's like an Excel spreadsheet where you can like self-assess, you know, your business value. You can get on a call with them to get a free value assessment. And you can also download their 2019 review of e-com business sales. So all the links are included here. Yes, so it would be easy for you to.
Information.
Yeah, I think it's very helpful if you're looking into selling. Yeah, and final note, if you want to get in touch with me and help you grow your business and eventually, obviously, improve, you know, your exit value, you can get in touch with me via email, my website, or simply set up a meeting using my Calendly link.
Yeah, I will also put this information in the chat box, in the content box.
And it is, yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think it's such a good lesson today. I'm sure a lot of people are curious about this information.
Yeah, so I wish everyone the best possible exit, and thank you, Meibo, for having me, and until next time.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye-bye.